Okay, let's do another chord progression here. We're going to do the same kind of idea, the two string power chords. And this time we're going to do a 6-4-1-5 progression. So it's another pretty popular progression. Guarantee you have heard this at least a few times. So, I mean, even this band has used it a lot. So it's quite popular. So, I'm just going to kind of build through it same way as last time. So, when I'm looking at this, starting with the 6, we're going to start on the low E string. We got the, key of C again. And there's another way of looking at it. You could do this from the minor scale perspective, since we're starting with chord number 6. We'll talk about the whole numbering system for a minor key perspective versus the major key. At the end of the day, you end up with the same thing anyway. Basically, from the major scale perspective, like chord number 1 is C major. If you look at it from the minor scale perspective or minor key perspective, A minor would get the 1. So, I guess real quick, I said, well, we'll get more into it later, but now that I'm saying it. So basically, going up in order with these movable shapes, you got C major is 1, D minor is 2, E minor is 3, F major is 4, G major is 5, A minor is 6, B diminished to 7. So if we look at it from the minor key perspective and consider A minor, chord number 1, it's the same thing. We just change the, what's number 1? It just goes A minor is 1, B diminished is 2, C major is 3, D minor is 4, E minor is 5, F major is 6, G major is 7. So from a major key perspective, the 1, 4, 5, the majors. From the minor key perspective, 1, 4, 5 would be the 1, 4, 5, all the minor key, chords right there. Looking at it from the power chord perspective, the 1, 4, 5, like we looked at last time, from the major key perspective. And if we do it from the minor key perspective, same distance from the 1 to the 4 to the 5. So it's kind of a neat thing. So if you kept it at the major key perspective where C is 1, if we did this, did the minor chords like that, it would be 6, 2, 3. So 6, 2, 3. We end up with the same kind of little L-shaped pattern like we get with those. So anyway, we'll get more into that. But this one, popular progression, the 6-4-1-5. So starting on the low E string like last time. So 6, I'm going to look at it like this. I could go up to the 4 here, because if I look at it kind of like, a minor scale, stuff like that. I can look at it that way. That's the 6, 7, and then 1, 2, 3, 4. I could do the 5 here and the 1 there. I'm going to go another way. I'm going to go down to the 4. That's usually how this progression is done anyway. So 6, there's the 5, there's the 4. 6, 4, 1, and that ties into what we looked at on the descending thing from last time. So when we started going down the strings, because we went E up to the B string and then went back down to the E string and kind of changed how we looked at it. It's like the 1, 4, 5, 4. Remember that? The 1, 4, 5. And now we're doing the 6, 4, up to the 1 there. So we're still kind of working in that same area, just a slightly different order, and we're starting with chord number 6. So in different chord progressions, you'll see a lot of the same types of chords, or the chord number thing, and you'll notice similarities in like different songs with slightly different chord progressions. I mean, when it comes down to it, we're just looking at 7 root notes across the board, the fretboard. So yeah, you're gonna notice patterns the more you pay attention to it. So hopefully you'll pick up on these things as we continue doing it, and playing different songs or even writing your own stuff. Like notice like how these things move from one chord to the next, and then it'll really demystify things, I think. So yeah, we're starting there with the 6, going down to the 4, so 2 whole steps down to the 4, then up a 5th. I'm saying up a 5th because we're going up, F to the C there. That's a 5th interval. So we're going up a 5th higher to get back to chord number 1. Hopefully that makes sense and it's not confusing, because obviously chord number 1 is not chord number 5. And that's another thing to keep in mind. Like, interval distances are not like, how do I put it? Like a distance is a distance is a distance, right? Like an inch is an inch no matter what. A foot is a foot no matter what. A mile is a mile no matter what. So, going from one chord number to another chord number, you're going to have a specific interval distance. So you can talk about the interval distance going from one chord to the next without changing what the chord number itself is. I hope that makes sense, because there's a lot of numbers we're talking about here, and kind of needing to differentiate between like intervals, chord numbers, things like that. It is important. But anyway, keep going here. All right, so then up to that 1 we got, and then we're going to go straight down to the 5. So and finish with the same chord there. So just like before, we're going to take or do the same path for the other keys, starting in the same spot. So we cannot start with the open E string here, because then we'd have to change how the pattern looks. I mean, you can definitely start with it. You have this chord 6 there, and then there's chord number 4, number 1, and 5. But I want to show a similar pattern every single key to help you see it better and more quickly. So we're going to start way up here, so we can still go down a major third distance, 2 whole steps. So down a major third distance to get to chord number 4. Then we go up a 5th to get to chord number 1. So same note there. Bam. And then we drop it straight down to get to chord number 5, and then finish chord number 6 again. And then we go to the key of F. And basically it's just move everything down a whole step to go from the key of G down to the key of F. So do that, and that. And there we go. All right, so next, we can't start with the open A string. Eventually we will. But right now, because we're trying to stick with the exact same pattern as we go higher and higher up the strings, we have to start up at the 12th fret, so this way we can maintain the same pattern every single time. So once again, we're going to go down a major third distance to get to the 4, and then we go up a 5th to get from chord number 4 to chord number 1, and then we drop straight down to get to chord number 5, and a whole step up to get back to chord number 6. All right, and then this one, we're just going from, the key of C to G to F. So we're just going to work our way down. Wait a minute. Sorry, I was about to say something wrong. Never mind. I was thinking the wrong thing. We are going to do that. But what I was about to say was going to be incorrect, so never mind. All right, so starting with the the E5 there. Go down that major third to get to chord number 4. Up the 5th interval, or up the 5th to get to chord number 1, and drop it right back down to get to chord number 5, and then up a whole step back to chord number 1. And then just move everything down a whole step to go from the key of G to the key of F. All right, and now starting on the D string, that is where the A5 will begin. So same deal, we go down from chord 6 to chord number 4, going down a major third, and we go up a fifth. So now we got the slightly different chord shape because we got the G and the B string being used this time. And then we drop straight down to chord number 5. Whoa, there we go. Alright, and then the key of G. So E minor. So we could play at E5 down here, but then we can't follow the same pattern. So we need to come way up here in order to maintain the same path from one chord to the next. Alright, so that would be 14 and 16. Drop it down a major third. So that would be 10. There we go. Sometimes I just can't do math in my head worth a damn. So I just look at the guitar. I'm like, alright, there it is. Alright, and then just move all that down a whole step to go from the key of G to the key of F. Again, we could make the progression starting with the open string, but the path, how it would look going from one chord to the next, would look a bit different. So that's why we're going to start up here, really high up there. Okay. And now up to the G string. So that is starting on the 9th. Whoops, wrong key. Why does that still say the key of F? I thought I copied and pasted stuff correctly. Oh no. Well, I hope the original one is correct. 1 second. That needs to be the key of C. This is key of G. Alright, key signatures fixed. Continuing on. So yeah, starting on the G string. So my first thought is, go to the A5 down here. But if we're going to go down a major third distance, well, we don't have enough room. So this is another one. We got to start way up high, way up high. And then we go down the major third. And then up a fifth. Drop it down. Ooh, God, that is wrong. Ha, I'm so used to just going with the same fret that I goofed it up. That's right. We got to go down a string, down a fret in order to go from the B string to the G string because of the different tuning. There we go. Alright, now we're going to be starting on fret number 9. Then we go down the major third, up the fifth, and then down one string, down one fret. And then move all that down one whole step. There we go. Now up to the B string. So we got to start up here on the 10th fret. That is not showing up. Hold on. There we go. And let's make that change now. So we'll get to the bottom. Okay. Yep, so starting up there. Now we can't do the same thing anymore. Can't do the same thing. Why? So we've been going up a fifth to get to chord number from 4 to 1. So now we could start the same way. Right. And do it like that. It'll be easier to visualize down here, so we could look at it this way. So that is a valid way of doing it for sure. Maiden has done that plenty of times, but usually in this key instead. But we're going to take a slightly different approach because I want to show another way we can do this, and that will help with the open strings we're going to check out. So a little bit different pattern this time. Alright, so with this we're going to go from chord number 6, starting way up here, and then we're still going to go down to chord number 4, or no, but yeah, down to chord number 4, but not on the same string for the root note. Now we're going to go down to the lower string. I swear I cannot talk sometimes. And then I feel the pressure of being on the recording, and it's like, no. So yeah, we're going to go from there, and then down the string to that. And then we're going to go up a string to chord number 1. And then when we're not dealing with the B and the G string combination, this will look a lot nicer, I think. But yeah, this is where we ended up, so of course. So we're working with it. And then we go down to chord number 5. So we got another pattern that we can use to go through this chord progression. So like last time we had the 1, 4, 5, back to the 4, and then the 1. So really we just had 3 different chords that we're working with. Now we got 4 different chords we're working with. So you can come up with different patterns, different pathways to go to achieve the same kind of chord progression. Again, like you could, if you like the sound of it, you can go from chord 6 up to chord 4, down to chord 1, up to chord 5. You can also go 1, 4, 6, 4, 1, 5, like that. So many different ways of doing these things, and I think it would definitely be overkill to try and think of every single possibility, because we could go chord number 1 here, chord number 4 here, chord number 5 here, and then, oh, I skipped, yeah, I didn't do that right, chord number 6, chord number 4, and then chord number 1, chord number 5. So yeah, it just gets silly. So we're just focusing with a couple things just to show how these patterns are movable in all these different keys and whatnot. So here we go to the next key, same kind of deal. All right, so starting with E5 down here, 5th fret. So following the same path. Here and boom boom. Oops. And then we just get to move all that down one whole step to get the other key. Ooh. Uh-oh, I typed that one in wrong. There we go. Okay, so now we're going to go back to that G string and chord number 6. So now we get to start down here. Alright, so going down to chord number 4, and then up to chord number 1, down to chord number 5. And now the E5, starting up on the 9th fret. Again, down to chord number 4. 10, then up to 1, down to 5. And move that all down a whole step. Goose something up. Oh, because I did not put that down a whole step. I did it the same place. Whoops. I was trying to move too fast. Alright. Now to the D string. So down to the 4. Up to the 1, and down to the 5, back to the 1. Key of, oh, okay. I see I don't have the key signatures changed on this one properly either. Let's fix that now. Key of C, key of G, and yep, finish with the key of F. Okay, save that. All right, so now we're gonna go down here for that E5, down to the C5. Right back up for the G5, straight down for the D5. Now even like right there, going, that'd be a nice way of doing the same progression. But again, trying to show how it's a movable pattern, like going from one chord to the next all over the place in these different keys. I guess another option would be going so when we get back to U, figuring out like a very efficient way of going from one chord to the next, just remember, like, there's just so many ways of doing it. So if you see a pattern you're familiar with, you just go with that. But nothing wrong with experimenting, trying to find other ways of doing a chord progression to see if you like it better. Alright, so here's key of F. And finishing with key of C. Using that open A5. Finally using the open A5. And finally the key of C. Key of F. The D5 down to the B flat 5, up to the C5, down to the C5. So yeah, D5, B flat 5, F5, C5, D5, and there we go. Yeah, just working through them when you can. You can really strum it any way that you want. Six, four, one, five. It's like saying the number as you go is a really good idea. 6, 4, 1, 5, 6, 4, 1, 5, 6. So there we go. Another chord progression, and yeah. So if you got any questions with what I talked about here, definitely let me know. And any other questions, let me know. All right. Hope you get everything all sorted out and your hands all healed. And yeah, that's that. All right. See you again next week.